Hey. So, set this over a little bit. I wanted to record this video out in nature today because I wanted to just talk about life. And, I usually grass makes me like super itchy, so I hope that doesn't happen. But I'm gonna try to do it anyway because, like I said, I want to talk about life, and I feel like what's more life than sitting out in nature? And I mean, I guess technically I'm not like the most out in nature that I could be. Like, technically there's some woods right here behind me, and I could go sit in there, I guess, theoretically. But I don't want to get like a tick on my neck or something like that, so I'm not going to do that. But I found this really pretty like group of flowers right here to sit beside, so I thought I'd sit beside that. And yeah, I think I'm going to try to force myself to just talk about whatever for an hour. And the reason that I'm saying that is because I want to force myself to go away from distractions. Like, I feel like every single day I can just, whenever I want, I can fulfill the desire of me being bored. Not the desire of me being bored. I can fulfill the urge to not be bored. Right? If I ever feel bored, I can go up to my room and play Resident Evil, or I can listen to some vinyls, or I can go read a book, watch YouTube. I can watch YouTube whenever I want, listen to Spotify whenever I want. Basically, with a phone in my pocket, I have access to basically do whatever I want, whenever I want. And that also gives me the opportunity to never be bored. Which I guess, like, the first time that you say it kind of sounds like a good thing. You're like, oh, wow, I can never be bored again. But I feel like the truth of the matter is not being bored almost takes away your ability to, like, really think. And I guess that I mean, in a way, I guess that's kind of what meditation is, right? Because there's people that, I just realized that's my shoe. I was like, what is that black thing at the bottom of the screen? Like, I've kind of always assumed that meditation was just a spiritual thing. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I guess it is kind of like a good thing for everybody, regardless of if you're spiritual or not. Because it just, like I said, it gives you the ability to think about yourself and the world around you. And I guess I don't know if most people, like, obviously I've seen the movies where, like, they're in meditation and they're sitting there, like, the whole time just completely silent, like that. And I guess that probably works for people that probably works for people who aren't talking to a camera while they're doing it. But I feel like this is just as beneficial, because it's not like I'm like sitting here talking to a person, right? I'm talking to my camera. I'm just looking at my camera and talking, and I'm gonna post it on the internet later. Which, actually, let's start with that, because I think that's pretty interesting. I feel like the idea of parasocial relationships, for one, probably, well, never mind. I guess parasocial relationships have existed. I was going to say that they kind of started with the internet, but I guess in a way, parasocial relationships have always been a thing. Because I mean, there's always been people that have obsessed over their favorite celebrities, and had a desire to know them as a person, or that they just think they know them. They just think they know them as a person when they don't. And I think that is so intriguing because, in a way, like, this isn't any different than you just watching a TV. What am I, 83? Why did I say it like that? It's not any different than you just watching a TV channel, right? Like, I'm not doing anything that is more valuable than anything else that you can get, but for some reason you could gain a sense of us being friends, like me and you know each other, when the truth of the matter is, I might know some of the people that are watching this, but depending on the person watching this, I probably know nothing about you. And you don't know most things about me. I mean, you know what I tell you. I mean, but I could, for all you know, I could be lying to you the entire time. I could say, my name's Josiah, and my favorite color is yellow. And just based off of that, you would say, oh yeah, his favorite color is yellow. I know him. But I could just be lying to you. And I guess you could lie to people in real life about your favorite color. So that kind of defeats the point of that. But the point is that you don't know me, but or anybody else that you watch, you don't know me, but because you sit here and watch me talk for an hour, you kind of gain this sense of friendship or relationship in any way. And I think this is really intriguing because I'm not saying just you do that. I mean, I've done that with a ton of YouTubers. I remember when I was like 12 and 13, I guess he doesn't really post videos anymore, but when I was younger, I remember I loved Corey Kenshin, and I would go on YouTube and I would post comments on his videos talking about like, you did such a great job today. It's so cringy thinking about it, but it would be like, you did such a great job today. I love your videos. You're so awesome. Maybe it's not cringy. Maybe it's just lighthearted, but the point is that, I mean, maybe he did see those, but he probably saw them in a way of like, oh, a fan giving me positive feedback, right? But whenever I was making those comments, I was seeing it as, I hope my friend responds to me. I hope my friend Corey Kenshin responds to me. When, like, we're not friends. I mean, I wish. Am I right? No, but I'm not friends with Corey. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what he does. I don't know what his favorite hobby is. I don't know. I mean, it could be playing video games, I guess, but like, I don't know that. I don't know his middle name. I don't know whether he's right-handed or left-handed, stuff like that. So, I just really think that it's interesting that we like to build these relationships with the people on the internet when we don't know them. And sometimes I kind of feel like I didn't know the relationships that I have. Sometimes I feel like it would be better if the relationships messed up there. Too bad I'm not going to cut it out. Sometimes I feel like the relationships I have should be less than they are. Maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe that's just selfishness on my part. But that's what I've been feeling. This leaf is so soft. That's interesting. Anyway, I feel like some of my relationships that I have in my life are frustrating. But it's hard for me to tell if the frustration is one-sided. Like, what if I'm just like selfish and I'm not realizing it, you know? Like, I have this guy that I work with. Actually, you know what? Yeah, no, I'll say it because I really don't care. I have this guy that I work with, and I guess he would probably consider us as friends, because he loves to talk with me and hang out with me, and I'm nice. I'm not just sitting here like, but like I don't really entertain any of his opinions, like, kind of like it's almost being more friendly of you to sit here and listen to me and entertain the opinions and the thoughts that I'm producing, right? Like, you're purposefully clicking on the video that I'm making right now because you want to intake the opinions or statements that I have to say and make your own thoughts about them, right? But basically everything that he says to me, I just throw right out the window. Oh man, I'm kind of blocking this flower. Let me move my knee out the way so you can see it better. I kind of take everything that he says and I kind of just throw it out the window. Like, he could, blah, 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 blah. Don't care. I forget about it like the very second that he says it. And I wonder if he does the same thing to me, where he doesn't really think about the things that I say, or if it's just me being selfish or me being like rude. Like, is it rude for me to what am I trying to say? Is it rude for me to not care what he has to say? Right? Because I don't necessarily think that what he says is like, invalid or worthless, but I don't care enough to really listen to it. I don't know. Y'all hear that cricket? I'm not sure if you can hear it on the video, but it is loud. I mean, it's got to be just like 2 feet away. That's insane how loud that is. Also, I really hope y'all have been able to hear the bird sounds this whole time, because like, that was kind of the one thing I was looking forward to when I was making this. I was like, you know what? When they listen to this, I hope they'll really like those bird noises. I don't know what that was, but it just flew right by my ear. You know what? Let's actually just like let's talk about life. Actually, let's just talk about life, right? Not living life, not the like problems of life, just life itself, right? Actually, let's take a drink break really quick, because I'm a little thirsty. I'm sure people that meditate don't drink Dr. Pepper while they meditate. Well, now I can't lay it down. And now I've got to actually set it up. All right, it stayed up. All right. So, in the idea, I feel like okay. Let me get my first thought out before I just try to like break into so many other things. I feel like we sort of disregard the fact that everything exists, right? Like, I mean, look at this little flower, right? I mean, in everyday life, when we're not thinking about it, like when we're listening to music and, you know, reading our books, listening to our audiobooks, watching a movie or a TV show, walking around with our heads looking down at our phones all the time. We're not really like, and not that this is a bad thing, but we're not necessarily like taking the time to acknowledge that, like, oh, I got a burp. What the heck? There it goes. We're not really taking the time to like acknowledge the fact that everything is something. Whoa, what the heck? Some insect was just assaulting my ears. Anyway, that probably sounds weird to say, that everything is something. It maybe sounds obvious, but like here, let me get closer. Hold on a second. Look at this. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Focus. Don't focus on my hand, idiot. Come on. You can do it. I mean, look, it's got tons of little seedlings or whatever, you know, like leaves just all over it. And it's, you know, it's the size of my fingernail. And we just ignore that, right? Not that we ignore it, but like we don't really take the time to acknowledge it. Like, this is something that just exists. There's tons of them. I mean, I'm looking at them. They're everywhere. But we just kind of like, we almost take advantage of the fact that life is beautiful, you know? And I mean, like, there's some like videos that I get, well, that I used to get before I got rid of Instagram. There are some videos I would get on Instagram where it's like life core, right? And it's just like photos of like these drones like flying through fields, and you get to look at all the flowers in slow motion, stuff like that. But like, that's not actually experiencing it, right? That's just getting like a short-term emotion of like, oh wow, life really is beautiful. On to the next video. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of like acknowledging it and moving on. When I feel like it's just like, this is its own thing. And I mean, I guess I kind of killed it, because, you know, I ripped it out of the ground. But it is still a beautiful thing. And I like, if we are the highest, and I guess this is a debated thing of like, are we equal with animals? Or I would guess that we're not really equal with animals. We have dominance over animals. I feel we've always had dominance over animals, is what I'm trying to say. But like, God made this for us, you know? Like, he made this for us to be able to look at and say, wow, this is beautiful. You made this for me. This is beautiful. And it's everywhere. It's not just like this, you know, it's not just flowers. I mean, let's acknowledge the fact that, you know, like trees are huge. I mean, these things are tens to hundreds of feet tall. And they have so much intricacy in them that sometimes we kind of just ignore. Like, I mean, like the inside of a tree, right? You know, when you cut it, it's got all those different lines in it that's supposed to represent how old it is, right? That's so interesting that a tree is living, and not only living, but that it is, you know, supplying a house for animals. It's supplying a lot for us. It's supplying a lot of products for us. But it's supplying food for certain animals. It's just so interesting to me. and it provides air for us. I mean, I read a statistic somewhere that actually trees don't provide that much oxygen for us. It's mostly like something in the ocean. I don't remember exactly what it was. But either way, like, I can look, like, I'm looking at all these trees around me, and it's hard to believe that they can have so much intricacy about them, you know? And that, I mean, that also applies to like animals and insects. I mean, like, they're all so unique and they're all so complex and intricate. Like I've been saying, I feel like I've said the word intricate like 15 times, but it's true. I mean, they're all so unique in what they do and how they act and how they function, including us. What the heck is that noise? Anyway, yeah. And like I was saying, the reason I even brought that up in the first place is because I feel like we ignore it. Like, we see a bird flying across like I just did just now, and we kind of just disregard it and continue on with our day. When that's something that God made. You know, like God took the time, literally took the time. No, that was a joke I was making. But he took the time to sort of develop this bird, right? Whatever bird you're thinking of in your head. He took the time to design this bird. And he designed it to where it would work perfectly in the system that it works in. Like, that's another thing, is that all of these animals, well, at least according to the Bible, as far as I'm aware, were originally made to coincide with each other in a way that they could all be like friends, right? Where nobody eats each other, they all live off the ground, they all live off the earth. But then, you know, after the fall, the animals also were developed in a way where they could survive off of each other in a sort of predator and prey thing. And I think that is so interesting that God had a design to where it would work both ways. Now, me personally, I could never see a world where, like, an alligator is friendly. Well, yes, I could. I could never see a world where, like, an alligator is, you know, like, not vicious to, you know, a pig. But that's probably just because I've been living in the world where that is not the case. But in this alternate universe where Adam and Eve did not cause the fall of man, they would 100% be chill. Like, you know, like a pig would just be resting on top of an alligator like it's nothing. Like, they're not scared at all. And I just think that's so interesting. You know, it's so funny that, like, I mean, obviously this could theoretically get 0 views, but it's so interesting to me that you could be watching this and I'm really not providing anything productive to your day. I mean, I want to. I hope this is, like, giving you the feeling of, like, yeah, I should appreciate the little things in life. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this and then I'm going back home. Well, I'm at my house. I'm not I'm not trespassing. I swear this is my fence. But I'm not like, I'm just gonna go back inside of my house and inevitably end up, you know, watching YouTube or playing a video game or something. So, like, it's not like what I'm saying is something that I'm going to use to better myself, right? Like, well, it is. As I think the idea of this, like, meditation is good because it allows me to bring out my thoughts in a way that normally would be, like, deafened by the stuff that I would do for entertainment purposes. So let me scoot up a little bit because my butt's hurting and I'd rather sit like this. Dang, my legs are white. You see that? Holy crap. Anyway, I found a walnut. Well, I don't know if it's a walnut. It's a nut. See that? It's kind of like a little fidget toy. I like this. Spinning around. Oh. Spinning around, squeezing and stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to take this. Well, no, I am. Doing this is a good thing. Because I feel like even if right now this does not do anything to help anybody or me or anybody, right? It is still putting it into the world where it has the potential to help somebody, where before, if I just would have told myself, it's not worth it because it's not going to help anybody, then the potential for it to help somebody would not even exist. So I think overall this is a good thing. You know, the grass is not itching me nearly as much as I thought it would. Like I felt like by this point, because I'm 26 minutes in, I feel like by this point I would have been like driving myself crazy, but I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. This is nice. You know what? Let's just sit for a moment. Let's just sit for a moment in silence. Like let's just sit here and enjoy the amount of nature sounds that just are constantly being produced. Just take some time to really acknowledge it. It's beautiful, isn't it? Well, I actually really hope you could hear that. If you couldn't, if you can't hear any of the nature noises, it's just gonna sound like, well, it's not gonna sound like anything. I'm just gonna be like standing here, and you're just gonna be like, or I'm sitting, but you know what I mean. And you're gonna be like, what is happening? This is stupid. But that was also kind of a test. I kind of planned that out as a test to see, and it's really just a test for yourself. I want you to think about if during that time that we were sitting there listening to the nature sounds, if you felt the desire to, click off the video, or if you felt the desire to put it in like a picture by picture and do something else while it plays, or if you have been doing something else while this has been playing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That is completely okay. Because at the end of the day, what you are doing is not the same as what I am doing right now. What you will be doing watching this is not the same as what I am doing currently. I am talking to a camera, releasing my thoughts. You are intaking information that is the same thing as what I talked about at the beginning, where it's like where I watch a video to keep myself from being bored. You're doing the exact same thing right now, potentially. Maybe you weren't bored, but this is still keeping you from being bored. Or you just feel like you need something to stimulate the background of whatever you're doing, right? And I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how during that silence, it was almost like awkward. Not like awkward maybe, but like you just felt like you had to do something. Right? I mean, like, I'm a great example. I've been sitting here fidgeting with this little nut this whole time that we've been doing this. But yeah, just think about that. Yeah. Another thing is, I feel like, sure, actually, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this just to try to prove my point of not being like overstimulated. Which is what I was going to go into. I feel like this probably has gotten worse over the last while. By the last while, I mean like the last 10 years-ish. But I feel like we have driven ourselves to a point where even if we're not bored, we need like a secondary source of action. Like I feel like it's gotten to the point where it can't just be one thing that we're doing. It's got to be two things, where the second thing is kind of like a passive thing. Like, for example, and this is like kind of an extreme example in my opinion. Maybe there are some people that have it like way worse. But as far as I know, like, this is an extreme example. I'm a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Actually, before I keep going, I'll take another little drink break. Imagine like an insect just like was in my drink the whole time and I just drunk it. I'm a huge like Five Nights at Freddy's fan, right? I've played all the games, I've beaten all the games. And probably my favorite game is Ultimate Custom Night. Cause I mean I know there's a little bit of story involved in that game, but at the end of the day, I'm not like huge on the story. I'm just huge on like the gameplay of it. I love the gameplay. It's so simple, yet like intriguing. But if you know about Five Nights at Freddy's, then you should know that Ultimate Custom Night is a very like overstimulating game. And I hate to use that word so much because overstimulating kind of seems like a desaturated word where like people be like, oh, I'm so overstimulated, you got to stop bothering me. But like, really, it is an overstimulating game where there's just like stop. There's so much stuff happening all at once. Look at the freaking waddle of this flower. Anyway, it's a very overstimulating game, and I would play it. I think I have 82 hours on that game, which maybe to some people isn't a lot, but for me that's a lot because I have 2 jobs. So for me to have 82 hours on a video game, let alone just one video game, is crazy. But I'm saying that to say that I got to a point where it wasn't like enough, where I had to be like. At first, it kind of started like it wasn't like a huge thing, where it was like, oh my goodness, I'm tired. That's not what it turned into. It kind of started off as like, I just want to listen to music while I do it, because I just want to listen to music, which is kind of like the most passive one, right? The most passive example of doing a secondary action is listening to music, because you can basically listen to music with anything. But I would like, after the music, I got to a point where I had to be listening to like an analytical YouTube video, kind of like this. Well, this isn't really analytical. Maybe it is. It's more like an introspective. But I had to watch like videos of like, analysis of Super Mario 64 or something like that, and I had to be listening to it while I was playing it, so that way I just always had something like stimulating my ears and stimulating my eyes and stimulating my hands. And I feel like people probably, unless I'm just like being completely dense, people probably didn't have that problem before, right? Like if you're Arthur Morgan, I hate to use a video game example, but if you're Arthur Morgan in the 1890s, what is there to drive away that boredom? Like, what is there that is you know, that is allowing you to stimulate yourself both actively and passively? I can't think of anything. Like, yeah, no, I can't think of anything. But we have so many ways to do it now. I mean, we have, well, first of all, your phone is both an active and a passive stimulant, where, you know, if you want, you can be watching YouTube and playing Angry Birds on your phone at the same time. It can act as both the active and the passive at the same time, even, which is crazy to me. But we just have so much access to doing stuff, which I guess I already said that at the beginning. I want to try to think of a new topic, so stop bothering me for a second. Let me think of a new topic. We could talk about how minor addictions work. Sorry, I just burped. There it is again. How minor addictions work. Like, I would say that I am addicted. Dude, look at my freaking posture. Do you see this? Look at this. I'm sitting down like this the whole time. That's ridiculous. Hold on, let me... okay, there we go. That is ridiculous. Anyway, I sort of like have... I would definitely say that I have an addiction to video games. And I think all of... Well, if they're truthful about what they say, I feel like they probably do too. Dude, I keep doing it. I keep going down. And like that, it's bad. And like, you don't really think about it. Oh, sorry, Mr. Pretty Flower, or Mrs. But you don't really think about it as being bad until you really think about what you're doing. Because as a whole, I feel like most people don't think about video games as being a bad addiction. Like, I would say like a bad addiction would be like, smoking, drinking, gambling, like the big three, right? But it is an addiction. I feel like anything can be an addiction if you let it take away the good things in life, right? Like, there's been plenty of days, even still, since I've tried to, adjust myself into being a better person every day, right? I feel like there's been times where I'll get home and I have the opportunity to maybe record like a video, but I tell myself that I'm not going to do it. And the reason that I tell myself that I'm not going to do it is because I want to go inside and play video games. And it's not like I'm just playing video games for like 30 minutes and I'm done. Like, I play them for a long time. I'll probably play video games between 2 to 4 hours at a time. And probably the only way that I could see that as being okay is if you make money doing it. Like, Dude, I'm sorry if I'm, like, squinting a lot. It looks like I am. It's because, like, I'm colorblind. Well, I'm color tinted. Actually, we'll get into that in a second, because I think that is an interesting thing. But, what was I saying? What was I saying? I would spend 2 to 4 hours playing video games at a time. And I feel like, unless you're getting paid to do that, that's probably too much. That's probably way too much. But I just get so, like, I get such a drive to be the best in this, fake world that I made. Right? Like, I play sports games a lot. Like, I play NBA 2, well, actually, the main two that I play are NBA 2K and MLB The Show. Where I get obsessed with being the best person in this fake universe that I've made. Not the best online player, right? These people have, like, thousands of hours. But, whoa, that is a big bird. That is a huge bird. Anyway. Not the best online player, but the best player in this universe that I've created, where in the NBA draft now, Josiah Whitmire is in the draft, right? I want to be that person. When it would be equally as productive if I just went outside and actually played basketball for even half the time. But playing the video game is just more fun, I feel like. And it makes it to where I don't even do stuff that's, like, healthy for me. Like, I eat probably 1 meal a day. I know it's hard to tell. No, but I eat maybe 2 meals a day on a good day. And I'll just resort to playing video games instead. And I really don't feel like that's a good thing. Yeah. What was I going to talk about? I had something. I talked about. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm colorblind, and I'm gonna go a little story time incident, if you will. I know some people post, like, story time videos on YouTube, so consider this little segment a story time video. I almost died in this field that I'm standing in. Hold on a second. This giant little field that I'm in. I almost died in it. Aren't I so cool? No, I'm just kidding. But, so, when I was, like, let me get this flower back in the shot. When I was, like, 12. No, I was older than that. No, I was 12. I'd say I was probably 12. When I was 12, I worked with my uncle out here a lot. Like, he's a mechanic, so we would work on, like, cars or, cars is what we worked on. I was gonna say stuff that related to cars, but that's still working on cars, so that doesn't really change anything. But anyway, me, him, and my grandfather, we were all out here working one day, and I absolutely hated working. I mean, I guess everybody hates working. Well, to a degree. But no, I hated working with my uncle. Not just because it's work, right? It's honestly less about it being work and more about it being the fact that I was getting nothing out of it. When that's kind of a side tangent. I might get into that later. Probably not, but I might. Anyway, I hated working, and I really didn't want to work, but I was forced to do it anyway. So, we're working down here, and before I go any further, I want to preface this by saying, I would say that this is equally my fault and my uncle's fault. I wouldn't say that it's really one or the other. I would say that it's probably equal on both sides. But we had these oil barrels, right? We had these oil barrels that were like, probably 5 feet tall. They're like a drum, like a oil drum. And I'm doing my freaking posture thing again. Basically, my uncle had told me to take a laser cutter. I don't know if you know what a laser cutter is. It's this big, like, well, it's not big. It's like that big. It's like this little, like this, like, torch almost. It's almost like a torch that is so powerful that it can go through basically anything. And we were using it to cut the tops of these metal drums off. So you would go around in a circle, cut the whole thing, and just take off the top. Kind of like in those, like, spy movies where they cut a hole in the glass, like that. That's kind of what I was doing. So I do like 4 of them, right? And I'm hating it. And none of them, okay. So also this is a good thing to preface it with. None of these had oil in them. Or that's what my uncle thought, was that he had drained all the oil out of all of these. So I go to this one, we go to do this one barrel, and we're having to take them, like carry them like 30 feet. Oh, carry them. I'm 12 years old. I can't carry these oil drums. But this one was like super duper heavy. And my uncle refused to help me for some reason. It was like, what's wrong with you? But anyway, so I had to like roll it over there, like carrying it on one side and the other side like that, over and over again. And I'm like super tired, and I'm it's hot. I don't want to work anymore. I'm 12 years old, right? I said I'm 12 years old because I just don't want to work, not because I want to re-preface to you that I'm 12 years old. And I go and I start cutting, but when I'm cutting it like super duper low. And I don't know if that would have changed anything, but like if I was normally cutting the barrel like right here, like right on the edge of the lid, I was cutting probably like right here on the barrel. And I don't know if that made a huge difference in the end of the story, but it definitely had the potential to. But I'm laser cutting, right? And like I said, it's like a torch. So there's little sparks, little sparks that are going off on the inside over and over again. And I guess one of the sparks got into the drum, and there must have been some oil still in there, because it just, I mean, it was so loud that the people at the next place, my neighbors, that's what people that live beside you are called. They're called neighbors, by the way. My neighbors called my uncle to see if everything was okay. That's how loud it was. And the lid, because I'd cut most of it off, just blew off. And we still haven't found it. But when it blew off, the heat and the explosion and all of that, like, mind you, I'm like right next to it, because I'm sitting here cutting it like that. So I'm right next to it, and it like, oh, sorry, I'm so tired for some reason. I mean, I can't even get words out. Holy crap. Anyway, it blew up, and the heat mixed with the explosion, for one, burned all of my hair off. Like, not just a little bit of it. Like, well, yeah, I wouldn't say it burned all of my hair off. But, like, let's say my hair is, like, down here whenever this happened, which it wasn't, but let's just say it was. If my hair was here before I blew up, it was probably, like, up here whenever I did. And I ended up having to cut most of my hair off. It burned my eyelashes off. Like, I didn't have any eyelashes anymore. It basically thinned my eyebrows out to where they were super duper thin. I didn't have any facial hair, so I'm 12 years old. But, yeah, and another thing was, whenever it happened, it hit me in the eyes. It hit me so hard in the eyes. Now at first, which I guess it was due to shock. But at first I couldn't see anything. I remember what I did was I ran around. Like, you ever seen like a chicken with its head cut off? I know it's a popular saying. Have you ever seen a chicken with its head cut off? It kind of just runs around in circles, right? Until it falls over and dies. I kind of ran around in circles because I didn't know what to do. I was in so much pain. Until my uncle ran up to me, grabbed me like he was hugging me, and was like trying to make sure that I was okay. Because theoretically, if I was like, 2 or 3 inches closer, if my head was 2 or 3 inches closer, the lid probably would have, clipped my nose or my chin or my head, and I probably would have died, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'm kind of running around in circles, like tweaking, and I run up to my uncle. Well, he runs up to me, hugs me, and he begins walking me back up to our house. And I can't see anything at all. And by the time, imagine there's like this long like driveway that leads to your house, right? Kind of from where we were working at to the house was like a long driveway. So by the time we get through that driveway and get inside, I can see, but everything is in black and white, which isn't how it is now, but that it was how it was at that time. And I took a shower, and my grandma cut all my hair off. My grandma just happened to be at the house with us at the time. My grandma cut my hair off so that I didn't look stupid. And I had 3rd-degree burns all over, like, my neck and my chest. Because, so I was wearing a hoodie because I was edgy. So even whenever it was hot, I would wear black hoodies. And it ripped a hole in my hoodie. The shirt I had under it was, like, covered in, like, what is it called? Soot? Like, black, like, ash. And my hair, before I got cut, was up like a scientist. Like, I guess that's where they got it from, because my hair was just stuck straight up like a scientist. And it got all cut off. But I had 3rd-degree burns all over my neck and up the back of my neck, on my ears and stuff. It was terrible. But after I took a shower, actually way after I took a shower, basically, whenever I was about to go to bed, I noticed that my eyesight wasn't black and white, so that was really just shock. But my eyesight was, it was like red. It still is. It's like super duper red. Like imagine the sun is setting, and you are kind of looking around where the sun is setting at. How everything is just like red. I don't know how else to say it other than it's red. That's kind of how it was and still is. And it's funny. I was talking with one of my students the other day about it, and they asked me. They said, "Okay, before I go into that, that's what I mean when I say that I went colorblind. I'm not actually like colorblind. It's just that nothing is the color that it originally was." Right? Like if something is white, then it's either like red or pink. Just because of what happened. But I was talking to one of my students the other day, and they said, how does that affect you in your everyday life different from the usual? And I guess I never really thought about it, but there's a few different ways that it affects me. Like for one, I mismatch clothes all the time. Like I'll wear like gray and white socks and not realize that one's gray and one's white because they both look pink to me. Or okay, this is actually the worst. Like this is actually like dangerous, and I really need to get some colorblind glasses for this. But if I'm driving and the sun is facing me, not even just facing me, but if it's like if there's like a sunset, right, and I'm driving and there's like the light from the sunset on the road at all or on my windshield, I can't see at all. Literally nothing. I cannot see. I have to stop driving. And yeah, that's probably the biggest way that it affects me. But also, actually, another way that it affects me is I get super insecure about the clothes that I wear because of, like, I already said that I mismatch clothes all the time, but it messes with me psychologically because I don't know if my clothes match or not. So I'm just walking around potentially wearing mismatched clothes, and everybody is kind of like, well, not that everybody's looking at me, but that I feel like they are, right? Like, I feel like somebody is looking at me going like, what is this idiot wearing? Especially at the school that I teach at. I feel like either the kids or the staff members, at least once this year, surely, have thought to themselves, what in the world is he wearing? Because I feel like I'm supposed to be professional, right? As a teacher, I'm supposed to like look nice and act, professional. And if I'm wearing like, a purple shirt and, orange sweatpants, I feel like that just doesn't really show professionalism. And also, if you don't know, I'm a PE teacher. That's why I said sweatpants, because I don't have to wear like the nicest clothes in the universe. But still, I want to seem like I'm a coordinated human being that has the ability to dress themselves nicely. Like, I don't want to come off as like I don't even know how to like brush my own teeth. And that kind of is an insecurity for me. Another thing that I feel super insecure about is food. And I don't know if it's because of me or if it's because of... Whoa, that was so cool. This little insect is just like living on this flower. That was so cool. I mean, he just like flew up on the flower, crawled up the flower, and went into the flower. Like this thing... Sorry, I'm getting off track, but at the end of the day, I could just title this video, I'm yapping for an hour, right? I'm not really talking about one subject. But like this insect, right, has the ability to think, right? Like, that's the part that's insane to me. I was going to say this insect has the ability to crawl into a flower, but like, that's not anything special. But like, the ability for this insect that is as big as my fingernail to be able to recognize what it's landing on and know to crawl into it and acknowledge it as a home is insane, right? Like bees and ants, like those are insane. They're so smart. Like, they know where to find their home, and they know what their home is, and they live in a hierarchical system. They live in a system where there's that insect on the camera. I know you saw it. It just flew out of the flower that's right here. That's nuts. Anyway, so you know I wasn't lying. But they live in this world where they acknowledge a queen, right? Well, we call it a queen, right? But as their leader, and they protect it, and they just live in this system. And it's crazy to think about these things that can't talk or speak as living in systems, but I guess like we kind of see it in a way every single day. Like, if you own a dog, you recognize how a dog looks up to you, right? Like, and dogs want affection from you. The dogs want affection from you. They're not just these like they're not just these brainless creatures that are just walking around. Like, they have the mental capacity to understand that they want or do not want things. And I think that's so interesting. Like my dog hates baths, but it actively tries to not take a bath. And that's not like it's not like that's like a survival instinct, right? Like, well, maybe it is. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But that doesn't feel like it's a survival thing. That kind of just feels like this dog doesn't want to do it. Doesn't want to do it. So she's going to run away from me. Or she's going to go hide under a bed or something. And that's insane. Anyway, yeah, if you don't get any, you probably won't, but if you get anything out of this video, I want you to just try to take some time to really think about how great life is, how great all of this is, and the fact that it was made for me and you. That just feels so, like, warming, you know? Yeah. Keep being the best person you can be. Bye.